Hey yo! Alright, I've been meaning to record this for since I posted the map a few months ago. I just did a take yesterday, all in one take for this recording, and then I listened to it and I realized the microphone was fucking pointing the wrong direction. So it's like 11:30 at night and I gotta work in the morning, so I'm gonna try to knock this out in one go. This is my new map, Arcanum. If you haven't seen the trailer, please go watch the trailer. I uploaded it. It's bitchin'. It's the best video I'll ever make. It's super unsettling, and you might lose some sleep over it. It's a little creepy, so go do that for me. The big selling point of this map, I'm gonna get right to it, is the key. I saw, oh man, I've been wanting to do a key concept for a long time, but it wasn't until this last scripting update that we even had the power and the functionality to even do it. That they added like the trigger volumes and all these other things. But basically, I saw a map in Quake Live called Elder, and whoever picked up this key as a power-up, basically, doors would open for them and staircases would come out. Basically, they could move around the map much quicker and more efficiently than anyone else could. Thought it was a really bitchin' concept, and I've been wanting to adapt it to Halo for a long time, and it was only now that we could do it. So it's from Quake. I took some creative liberties as to how I wanted to implement it. I knew if I was going to put in the work to script this, and to have it scripted by someone else, and to make a map around this, I needed to get this right the first time. You don't have the wiggle room, to test the key and kind of mess with the layout and all this stuff, because all the scripting is tied to coordinates, and I basically had to know exactly how this map would play before I made it. So I need to be really confident in the layout and the mechanic, which is crazy because this whole key concept is completely unproven ground in Halo. So basically, I was looking at Quake. It's a 1v1 game, and so the key kind of works in that because there's no recharging health. So you shoot someone, they run away through a door because they have the key. Well, then it's fine because their health doesn't recharge. Your damage was still permanent. It still counts. You can imagine in Halo if someone had the key and they were playing like a bitch. They would just run away through a door and it'd be like the fight never happened. It would be very frustrating. So first of all, I put an ammo count limit basically on the key. You have 10 uses and then the key breaks, and on the 11th use, if you try using it again, it'll teleport you to a dead end. And what that does, it kind of resets the fight. You can trap the former key player in there, because once the key resets, once the key expires, the player teleports to a dead end, whoever had the key, and then the key resets to the next position. So you can choose between trapping the player, going for the next key. You can keep track of this. So it's basically an ammo count for the key. It does a really good job of resetting the fight and making a lot of cool encounters about the new key locations and baiting. And so that's nice. And then on top of that, you can tell someone has the key by if they're glowing gold. So when they pick up the key, they actually glow gold. You can see it around them, just like Overshield has the green aura and damage booster on fire. Same thing. It's a visual cue. And fireflies will actually follow the key guy around. So as he runs, you'll see the walls around him like illuminated, and you'll see like the fireflies jump on. It's really cool, really cool. Again, I don't know how to script for shit. I had other people do that. They took care of it for me. Super grateful. I'll get to that later. But yeah, so the ammo count was the big thing, and then I realized with Halo's recharging health, and Halo 5 is a big problem with shitty kill times because you can escape really easily between thrust, slide, clamber, charge, slide, fucking hover, and whatever, and a really shitty utility weapon. It's very easy to get out of fights you don't deserve to get out of. And so one of those things, I made a rule for myself that you can go everywhere the key guy can go. There's no key specific areas for that, and so that kind of helped not have like these little hallways or divots or pockets that you couldn't get to. The idea is that you can get anywhere the key player can get to. It just takes you longer, which it was difficult. So those things together made my life kind of a living hell for 3 months, man. Man, it's weird when you look at this map. Like structurally, it's not nearly as interesting as the stuff I normally make. I think Oblivion, Legion, Trinity, whatever, all way more geometrically interesting. Just the way that pathing is done in the line of sights and all that. Hoo-ha. This map is relatively not that, whatever that is, doesn't have that factor that I normally have in my maps, I feel like. But the key, even with all that said, I mean, there was I probably have 12 different versions of Arcanum. At least 12. Honestly, probably more. Of just completely different layouts where I was like, okay, this might work, but it doesn't, you know, feel like a dungeon. Or this one feels like a dungeon, but the key isn't, you know, valuable. Whatever. So when you're doing this concept, I didn't want just to have a map with the key, like, oh, it's kind of cool, like there's a key, whatever. Like, it needed to be the thing. Like, the thing that everyone wants in the map. It couldn't be some bird and you're like, oh, whatever, I'm the key guy. Like, it had to feel like badass and empowering. It had to be, you know, smart. You know, you have to be clever to use it. You know, you have to be flexible and creative. And the map had to be designed in a way that would support that and the mechanics together. So that was really difficult. Like I said, there was 3 months. There was days I would just sit there for like 4 hours in Forge, and I would just stare at the TV, like trying to wrap my head around this layout, thinking, you know, like, all right, how would this work if you were fighting against the key team and you couldn't access this door? Or how would this work if you were the key team and you were camping your ass off? How would they break it? How many paths can I afford? How many paths is too many? How would this play if neither team had the key and they're both baiting and then there was X amount of paths? How would this work if you were trying to breach another room and they were camping? So all these things made it extraordinarily difficult. Easily the most difficult thing. It felt like I was trying to balance a math equation in my head that had like 9 different variables and they all affected each other. That's the only way I could think of it. But in the end, the payoff, this is one of those things that no matter what I say, it's not really going to make sense until you play it. But the mental game on this map, and I mean this, so like, I mean, the depth is, it's literally uncomparable to any map I've ever played, at least that I've made, at least another Forger's made. And I don't attribute that to me so much as the mechanic, which I am extremely grateful to whoever came up with Elder. You're the man. The mechanic is beautiful. It's a great idea. It's traversal. It's especially in Halo 5 where every power weapon is bullshit. Every power up is bullshit. Everything is easy to use. Everything is obnoxious to get killed by. The key is a really cool way to do a power weapon that doesn't just grant you, you know, a free kill. You're still operating under the merit of your own skill, which is really nice. And on top of that, it almost stresses even more. And so, I mean, the mental game that comes out, like I said, there's nothing I could say that'll make sense, that'll explain this to you, but I promise if you just get like a group of 3 friends and play some doubles on this, by the first game is going to be a wash. Everyone's going to be falling off. There's a lot of really skinny catwalks. You have a bunch of suicides. You're going to hate the map. By the second or third game, I promise you, by the second or third game, it's going to start setting in and you're going to start seeing what I'm talking about. I mean, it's not something I have ever experienced in a map before. Even in Elder, because Elder's a 1v1 map, and even Elder's relatively simple geometrically, and in the case of 1v1, I mean, it has like 1 key door and 1 key stair, I think. So it's a relatively simple map, and I knew I could do it better when I saw it. I knew that the concept was brilliant, but I knew I could push it further than whoever made that up was. So that's how this came along. Again, I urge you to play this. I've probably played this map more than I've played every single Forge map I have ever made in the last 10 years of forging Halo. Probably combined, honestly. It's no less than 300 games, and I've spectated a good number more than that. And I still feel like the map I still feel like the map is evolving, especially when I'm playing with the same group of like 6 to 8 guys, and we're kind of rotating out. The mental, I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, it's just one of those things that you're like, oh, they're gonna do this, and then like they kind of do that, and you get a good prediction, and then they outpredict you, and then it evolves, and you're like, okay, well, they're not doing that anymore. You know, sometimes at first when you're playing it, you almost have a disadvantage when you have the key because it's more predictable. Like they can wait by the doors, both of the other teams, you know, other teammates, and they'll just sit there and you'll open the door because you have the key, and they'll just be standing there waiting for you, and you're like, oh shit. So in that sense, like, you can get baited, but then it flips. Then the key guy stops taking the key path, and it's just it's ridiculous. Just play it, trust me, you'll love it. It didn't have as big of a launch as my other maps, mainly Oblivion. Oblivion came out at a really good time when the file browser dropped, so I got a big surge of popularity and a bunch of channels for featuring it. So I got several tens of thousands of plays and downloads and, you know, what have you. This came out at a time when Halo 5 is relatively dead in the water. I don't blame it. Halo 5 is not that good of a game. People don't like playing 343 Halo, so it is what it is. I knew that would happen. My biggest goal with this map, especially because it's so non-traditional and niche, was my goal for this map was that it would just find its way into a small group of 4 friends that love playing doubles, and they just run it for the rest of their fucking life. Like that's really, if this map can find its way into one group, into one group of friends that's just like, oh dude, let's play some Arcanum tonight. Like the way my friends and I have played. We all like playing each other's maps, but I mean Arcanum has been almost a religious experience since it was finished 3 months ago, something like that. I have no way to explain it. I mean, it really is just something you need to experience, and I'm glad I made it. And if I could bring this map into one other group of people that will love it the way I love it, and my friends love it, and we've run it and have come to appreciate it, I'll be happy. I mean, that's really what it's good for. I didn't make it for matchmaking. There's horrible performance drops in the corner, but that's because Halo 5's a piece of shit engine. It's not optimized well. Forge sucks. You know, the whole shebang. I'm not going to bother optimizing it because I don't really care. So that's that. Visually, the map, I like it. I don't love it, but I like it a lot. Some people have told me it's my best looking map. I don't... So artistically, it probably is. Like the framing, the composition of everything, the way the doorways line up, the way the lanterns are staggered and they line up to the doorways, the way the hall curves. Everything's very artistic and framed really well. So in that sense, yes, it's probably the best looking map I've made. But in a more traditional Forge sense, this whole dungeon kind of castle theme is extraordinarily expensive in Forge, because every single tile is a piece. Every single line in the ground it's its own piece. So you can't really afford that much detail. Every single chain link is 4 pieces. Sorry, every chain link. I think 1/5 of the budget on this map is literally to the tiny chains above the lantern. If you're wondering why they were so short and they were dangling from like little ethereal fireballs, that's why. It's because Forge literally just, I don't have a chain link. I'm making it out of quarter pipes. So I mean, that's that. I like the art of the map, the actual piece usage and a level of detail in any given spot is definitely below Oblivion, possibly even Legion. I don't know. But I'm really happy with the art of the map. I seriously could not be happier. As for making it work, I can't script for shit. I have no interest in learning to script. So I contacted Martian Mallcop and Captain Punch. If you don't know who they are, they've been scripting for a long time. They're both really talented. They got the whole door system handled. They ran into a lot of bugs. They spent a lot of time on it. They got it done. Super grateful. Captain Punch, Martian Mallcop, A+. Good shit from them. Super happy they did the key scripting with the key player as well, so the key effects follow the player. I'm really glad that they could figure that out. Also, every time, I didn't mention this earlier, every time a key player goes through a door, they scripted a rumble. You can hear a rumble go off in like the distance of the map, and you can well, first of all, you can count it if you're really paying attention. You can count out how many uses they have left, and you can set up so you can trap them when they burn the key. But more importantly, you can use it to predict where they are. So even if you can't see them and you hear back to back 2 like rumblings going on in the distance of the map, you kind of get a good idea. Like, okay, they probably just ran through Red Hall, because Red Hall has 2 key doors right back to back, and so that was really good. And again, I mean, this chaining of doors and the way they're all next to each other is really important to making the key not just important but badass. I mean, if it was fun to use the key, but it wasn't essential and it wasn't vital and it wasn't helping you in a good way, the map would be a failure. If the key was extraordinarily helpful but it wasn't fun to use, the map would be a failure. So it had to be badass, and it had to have a lot of utility, which was really difficult because there's no hard formula for feeling like a badass, you know what I mean? So it had to be this idea that when you were the key guy, you're like, yes, I'm the motherfucking key guy. It couldn't be some burden, you know? You want to be able to, shoot, run through a door, shoot, run through a door, slide through a door, jump across a gap, clamber in the other door, flank them, run away, take a shot in the back, go through a door. All these things had to be really cool, running with your teammates, so even if they don't have the key, they can stand next to you and you can both use it, opening a door, getting a punch, backing away. It was all these things that was really difficult to figure out, really difficult to think of ahead of time, to balance without the key, with the key, against the key, playing with the key. I hope more people make key maps because it's a beautiful concept, and I'm so glad I came across it, and I hope there's more. I've seen Salty start one, Salty Koala Bear. I've seen Xandrith start one. I've seen a few people, Longshot has one. Whether or not I expect them to be finished, I don't know. Maybe some of them will, maybe some of them won't. It's a lot of work to get the scripting done. A lot of work. And even if you do script it and you play the map and you find out something's not right, like one of the doors is in a good position, then you've got to move the door, you've got to re-script it, you've got to find the new coordinates, which is why I went into this knowing I had to get this right the first time. And luckily I did. The map worked out perfectly minus 1 weapon swap. I changed out the grenade launcher for a spanker. Not too happy about each either. Halo 5 weapons suck. They're not fun to use. They're all overpowered. If I could have no weapons on the map and nothing but pistols, I would, but people aren't really like that. There's a damage boost that's a level 3, which means that it lasts a minute and a half. So it becomes like almost a dedicated power position, like not power position, power player. So just like there's a dedicated key guy, there's a dedicated damage boost guy, and it's actually up every minute. So if you time it right, you can actually get double damage boost for 30 seconds, which is really important. It makes you ultra aggressive. I love it. You're still just as vulnerable and weak as you are for any other player. All it takes is 1 grenade and a headshot. I mean, you still die quick, but you have the ability to make extraordinary pushes that you wouldn't otherwise, which I'm really happy about. Back to the scripting. So Captain Punch and Martian did that, and then they couldn't figure out how to make the lantern swing, and that swinging lantern over the bridge is one of those things that I thought of early, months before that I even made the map. I was like, I want this swinging pendulum of a giant fucking lantern like you see in the Destiny Taken King raid. They couldn't figure it out. It's really hard to make anything move really smoothly in Forge. I mean, that's just the nature of scripting. It's just not smooth. They recommended me to this guy called Stinger. He's like the only guy in like all of Forge to know how to script this thing smoothly, like butter smooth. You know, no skipping around. It doesn't do damage to you when you're standing on it, even if it's moving, which is really hard. So this guy figured it out actually really quickly, and he worked with me a lot on the speed and the height and all these things. I'm really grateful for. I got to bitch at him for a while, and he listened. So he was really kind about that. And he's probably the only guy who could have gotten that lantern to swing. It's really cool. It changes the line of sights. It allows you to push. It allows you to contest. You can use it to like pendulum swing across the whole center hallway. You can jump to it from the far side of the hallway if it's swinging towards you. It's just crazy. The whole concept of it. I mean, I'm glad I came up with it, but I'm even more glad that someone else was able to make it a reality, because I never would have been able to. But yeah, I mean, that's that quick video. I'm probably going to finish up this recording and remember that there was something else I forgot to mention, and I'm going to be really pissed. But that's that. Thank you for watching. I probably won't be forging anymore, and I say that every fucking time, so I don't expect any of you to believe me, because every map I've made in the last 4 years, I've been saying was my last map. But this time it might be true. If you don't know, I got a job at Treyarch. I'm going to be working on the next Call of Duty Treyarch. I've been working there for about 2 months, so I'm one of their level designers. They saw my Forge maps, they liked it. So super blessed, super blessed to get that with no experience. So I've been really busy with that, so I actually probably won't be really forging anymore. Or at the very most, I might, you know, lay something out on the weekend and maybe have someone else do the art for it. So it won't be strictly me. But yeah, so that's that. I hope you guys love the map. I hope you guys give it a chance. I promise it will blow your fucking mind, because it blew my mind. Like, I knew it would work. I didn't know how well it would work. And that's what really did it in for me. Also, a few other things I didn't mention. Given to Fly did the doors on the map, the really bitchin' looking dungeon doors. He did all 4 of them. There's 2 different styles. Big shout out to him, and he also refined the lanterns into what they currently are. 3-legged goat to the original lantern, which you can see actually in the broken red lantern that's over, that's sitting in the dirt. He did the original shape for that, and Given refined it. And then Goat actually did a lot of the, he established like the fog settings I needed, what canvas and what light map I should be doing it on. He cube mapped it for me, because I would not have thought of that, or even known what the advantages of it were. And then he also established a really cool color scheme for me in terms of the near fog and the distance fog and the primary, secondary, the kind of colors I should be using, what terrain I should be using. So he was a really big help. The dude has such a good artistic eye for color palettes and just all that jazz. So super grateful to Goat, to Given, to Captain Punch, to Martian, to Stinger. This was definitely not a solo project. I mean, I'll take credit for the design. I smashed my fucking head against the wall for months to make something that'll finally work, and I'm glad it works. But those guys were all lifesavers for this. So yeah, that's that. The download link has been up. It's been up for a little while. Like I said, I've been slacking on this commentary, but thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoy. Hopefully I'm not too busy or I can't ever forge anything again. I might give a hand at a flag map or something. Who knows? Alright. Peace, guys.